It's lights out and away we go!
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the GT UK F1 podcast. I am joined by David.
Hey everyone, how's it going? Sadly, still no Alan, he's still not feeling great, so we send him all our best.
Yep.
Which is a shame, because he'd love this one, because this is one of his favourite Grand Prix of the year.
Silverstone.
The good old British Grand Prix.
Kind of where it... Isn't this where it all began?
Yeah, the first race was at Silverstone. The actual first British Grand Prix, I think, like, championships that one, was actually at Aintree.
Ah.
I think the first race as such
The Silverstone.
was at Silverstone, because they had the car that won it there under the podium, didn't they, the Alfa Romeo?
Did you also notice that, for some reason, bizarrely enough, Google had a little doodle for Silverstone?
Did they? No, I didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, Google had a little doodle for Silverstone.
All right, fair enough.
And it's like, okay, but I get kind of why Google did it, because obviously who's one of McLaren's sponsors.
So the car was in chrome.
Yeah, what do you think of the orange safety car?
What was that for again exactly? I did hear it at some point, but
It was to do with the one of the new Mercedes, like, cars.
right. Because he was like, I mean, it just helped to fuel the flames of this whole Max to Mercedes shit with the orange and that. But I mean, we got to see it at least. There's always a good chance that they do something like that and you never get to see the damn thing.
Yeah, that's why it was orange, because Russell, obviously, they'd had it on their the race suits as well.
Yeah, well, the Mercedes F1 car had like orange stars on it, didn't it?
It was for the Vision 1. Or the Vision 111 or whatever it is. It's the new Mercedes Vision 1. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Sorry, the Vision 111 as it's known. That's why the safety car was orange and they had their bits. It was a bit of a promotion for them. Well, obviously the usual deal, guys. We didn't see practice. I heard there was a bit of incident in practice, though.
I watched the highlights of all three, so I kind of saw bits and pieces.
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing that was out is, to be honest, I hate doing this, I quite like the guy, but what the frick was Ollie Behrman trying to do?
What, under the red flag? Going into the pit? Yeah.
Decides to plant it into the pit lane and then can't stop the blue. I actually think he got lucky to get away with just 10 place grid penalty and 4 points. I could have seen you sitting out the rest of the weekend for that one.
Yeah.
And I don't think it'd have been unjustified to sort of kick him out.
No, don't get me don't get me started on. I'll come on to it.
No, this isn't a dig at the FIA. I actually, like I say, I think the FIA were a little bit lenient. I think it was a stupid move.
It was a mistake that he shouldn't have done. It was a red flag.
Did you hear the radio of Max from behind him laughing at it?
No.
Oh, there was some shorts going around YouTube from Max's on box. He was following him into the pits and he was having a right good chuckle about it.
Yeah. And obviously, yeah. I mean, it was a bad play. It could have caused absolute chaos if he hadn't spun round and been able to keep it going. He'd have blocked the pit lane.
you're in red flag conditions anyway. You don't know what's going on the circuit. You don't go tearing round like.
No.
If there'd been people on the track there because they were dealing with something, it's a rookie error, and it's one of them. But it's just, like I say, I think in other ways, although it sounds harsh, the penalty, I actually think he got away quite lightly.
It's one he'll never make again.
You would hope. It's a shame because Behrman's been not doing so bad in my book, considering the car's not exactly, fantastic. I think he's been not doing bad. His qualifying performance was fantastic.
Hmm.
He got over about 7th, didn't he? Q3 in about 7th.
We'll come on to that,
but then obviously all of that undone because of
his
antics in practice.
Yeah.
But that's the only thing for me that stands out from practice, really. The only thing that comes to mind.
Mm.
Don't know if you've got anything you picked up on.
I didn't see it, so.
Like I said, I just catch the highlights on YouTube.
Yeah,
these days.
I really should look at that, but
They only have about 7 or 8 minutes long. It just gives you a chance to see if there's anything standing out.
I know, but I keep forgetting.
Hmm.
Keep forgetting that's a thing.
So shall we move into quali then?
Yeah.
And I'm going to start at the bottom of the list. I'm going to put a question to you. Do you think that's the last time we'll see Colapinto?
I knew this was coming straight away. I knew this was coming, and to be honest, who the fucking hell are they going to replace him with?
I mean, the talk is Bottas, which wouldn't be a bad shout, although he got 5 place grid penalty to serve. But I mean, it's a shame for the
Doohan.
kid. Or bring Doohan back. Now I said right back when it happened, I thought Doohan was hard done to the way they did it. I really do.
Well, what do you expect? It's Briatore, for fuck's sake.
Well, it wasn't Briatore back then. Let's not. He wasn't in full control, and as of the 1st of September, he won't be anymore.
No, but Briatore.
He was an advisor at that point. Yes, he was involved, but he wasn't in charge. But don't forget, Briatore is Doohan's manager.
Yeah, I know, and that's what makes it worse.
But, I just... Colapinto's just not had good run, has he?
No.
Obviously, he binned it in quali, and then to jump forward a little bit because he was relevant, didn't even make the start of the race.
No.
In a race where, all I'll say is, because we'll get onto it in detail, but the lower teams on a weekend like this, that's where there's points to be won. It's weekends like this where the lower teams need to be there, because it's where the grid can just get shaken up. Well, as is evidence, as we'll come on to. So to I don't know how much of it was his fault. Apparently the car stalled and wouldn't come out of gear or something.
It got stuck in second gear.
Yeah. But it just, of all the people for it to happen to.
I mean, the problem is will they let him have Belgium and then swap him during... Hang on, when's summer break? Is it after
I don't
Hungary?
know, with a double header coming up after Belgium.
Right, it's Hungary then. No. Oh, you should know this. We should know this.
Well, I can do. I just need to start my phone.
Yep. The bet is the bet. So will they let him have Belgium? Because I've just had a look at the schedule thing. Will they let him have?
Then he's Hungary.
And Netherlands, yeah, but they're back. They're a double header.
Triple header, is it? No, that's just where my calendar works.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's a double header and there's a 3-week break.
Well,
and then we're back to...
Well, there's a summer break between...
It's only 3 weeks this year.
Ah. Right.
According to my calendar, which I actually downloaded off the F1 website. If you go on the F1 website, you have a thing where it will actually sync it with your Google Calendar.
Yeah, I have that on my calendar.
Because you've got Hungary on the 3rd of August, then you've got Netherlands on the 31st. So you've only got 3 weeks summer break this year.
Interesting.
Which makes sense when you've got so many bloody races to try and fit into a season.
Oh yeah, because there isn't the weekend I go to the air show. There isn't a race. So will they? That's the thing. Will they?
I don't know.
Will they
I
wait
really,
till then, or is that it? Will
I
we
mean,
be seeing somebody else in the car at Belgium?
if it was me now, as I've said before, I'm against these mid-season driver changes. I think you should give drivers time. But the situation they've now put themselves in, if it was me, I'd be seeing if you could grab Bottas. At least he's experienced hands. You know what I mean? And yes, if the rumour mill is true, he's off to Cadillac next year.
If
it seems more than 50%. He's not going to turn down the idea of some seat time to get himself back up to speed.
No, but he'll still have to serve his penalty.
Oh yeah, he'll have to serve. Well, don't forget, let's joke, is Jenson Button still carrying a 5-place grid penalty?
Mm.
Now he'll never serve that because I doubt you'll ever see him in an F1 car again. But yeah, it's
unless they bring a driver, unless they brought him in from WEC.
Who's that?
World Endurance Championship. Button.
No, but he said himself he wouldn't race an F1 car now. He's too old. He has categorically said that.
Which makes you laugh because it's like, well, don't let fucking Alonso hear you saying that, Jesus.
I think he's older than Alonso, isn't he?
Button? No, I thought Alonso was older than Button. Anyways, so qualifying.
No, Button's 45.
Then I want Alonso.
Give me 2 seconds on that one. I can't type. Alonso's 43.
He's only two years younger, like, but still.
Do a lot in 2 years, mate.
Yeah, but you know.
Anyway, back to the topic somehow. The trouble is, it's Briatore, and I could see Colapinto gone. Who would be there instead is a more difficult question.
Well, like you say, you got Doohan or Bottas or
other side options that we've never did. We know Perez is knocking about.
Yeah.
I just think at this point, Alpine's best shot will be a set of experienced hands. Because, if you take this weekend, Gasly didn't perform badly. Now, the team need points thanks to certain things that happened this weekend. The team's championship. I'm making people want to keep listening to find out. The championship standings are quickly running away from Alpine.
Well,
so maybe finding somebody experienced in the car would just actually get them.
Would it though?
I would say you'd stand a better chance with someone like Bottas than Doohan or Colapinto. Personally?
Depends if Merkel will allow it. You've got to think, he's there as a reserve for Merc.
Yeah, but the thing is though, Merkel, if you're Merc, of course you're going to allow it because he gets track time. You leave a clause in that you can pull him back if you need him.
True.
And he comes to you track fresh, not having sat out half a season.
Unlike what they did to Mick Schumacher.
Yeah, maybe it's just how I read the situation. That's what I'd be thinking. Yeah, let your reserve driver go and race for somebody else. Not only that, you could always do an Alonso and come back and tell you exactly what their car's doing.
True.
I don't know what Merc could learn of Alpine, but you never know. There could be something on their car that Merc could actually make work. And don't forget as well, who are Alpine's engine supplier next year?
Merc.
Exactly. So there's dialogue open there.
Yeah, true.
We'll give your reserve driver a bit of driving time, you know.
But the thing is, though, will Briatore get off his fucking pompous ass and actually allow it?
There has to come a point where he's got to think. The the difference between like 10th and 8th in the World Championship in terms of prize money is gigantic.
Well, I mean, the way things are going, I can kind of see Alpine not getting very far. I mean, we're halfway now through the season.
Yeah, and they've got less points than the first place.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So we'll see. Watch this space. I wouldn't be surprised if Colapinto's not.
We'll see.
Like I say, I am not sure who would take his place at this junction.
We shall see. I mean, so, anyways, getting on to Q1.
Well,
Obviously-
that was Q1.
Obviously, okay. Well,
Alti's pretty much the usual suspects. I
well,
will admit.
hang on. Well, they also have Paul Aaron and Hirakawa.
Although it was qualifying, yeah, they had 2 rookies in.
Yeah, but I mean, they have them as a reserve if they need
Ah, right, okay.
to bring
Oh,
them.
yeah, sorry, you threw that one as a curveball at me.
Yeah, I did a quick check.
It's
If they didn't,
yeah,
take,
but we've learned over recent years the reserve driver actually means very little, doesn't it? Because they can basically pull in whoever they want. Now, like I say, if there's an experienced driver available, right now that seems a better bet.
well, yeah, we'll see. Like I say, we'll just watch this space and we'll see.
I mean, we don't want to announce it. That's why Alan's not with us. Yeah, he's going to be racing for him next time out.
So obviously, yeah, Q1, you had your usual suspects.
It pretty much is the usual suspects, isn't it? 2 Saubers, Lance Stroll, Liam Lawson, say Colapinto binned it, so never got as far as. I think he did complete 1 lap because he got a time listed, but he never got.
They completed 6.
I mean, 1 flyer.
Oh, he only completed 1 flyer, yeah. But
yeah,
and then Q2 came around and well, what is
once again, you're probably not overly. Probably more of a surprise would be, like a Behrman getting it past Q2. The Q2 crowd is sort of it's there or thereabouts. I'd say Sainz and Albon are sort of bubble. The only reason they didn't make Q3 is because the likes of Behrman did.
And Albon had done a setup change and
it didn't work.
Screwed himself, yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, Yuki, not bad, but
Yuki, yeah. The turmoil. Do you know, in the last 5 races, Sauber have scored more points than Red Bull.
Yeah.
It's an insane statistic.
And the thing is, we can't say it's the driver. You know what I mean? It's more and more likely now proving that it's the car.
Oh, it's proving it's the car, and it's also proving, which is some people don't want to hear it, just how damn good Verstappen is. Because he's clearly driving that toilet round.
Even if he does fucking complain about it.
He still makes it go fast.
I know, but he complains about it.
Yeah, but he's still, you know.
I don't know, I think Red Bull did screw themselves up a little bit in terms of the way they set the car up, but...
Yeah, but they didn't. They were setting up, they weren't anticipating Sunday's weather, were they?
No.
But what that setup did was that blistering Q3 time.
Yep.
Christ, he pulled that one out of thin air when he needed to.
Again.
Yeah.
Going back to, like, Suzuka and stuff.
So, you know, the Q3, obviously, Alonso said Behrman, yes, but then he had the 10-place grid penalties. That dropped him.
And then, obviously, Antonelli had his free place.
For taking out Max in the previous round.
Yeah.
I won't forget that one in a hurry. Although my fantasy league, once again, fucked itself this weekend, but we'll get into that later.
Ferraris... Yeah, no.
Ferrari had a weekend. I'm going to come on to Leclerc in particular more during the race.
Mm.
And Russell, and Lando and Oscar.
Fighting it out as usual.
Yeah.
So, obviously, you know, we got into the starting grid. You know, you got Hulkenberg.
Behrman's been dropped.
Hulkenberg down there in 19th.
Foreshadowing.
You know, Ollie Behrman didn't help himself, unfortunately. Then,
what I did though was put like a Sainz actually ended up starting 9th, the Gasly 8th. So, which is got to be kind of annoying to me for them lads. They should almost be. They should have been allowed in Q3 because there was no way Behrman was going to start in the top 10. But it's one of those. I know it's difficult to judge. You got to feel robbed a little bit if you end up starting 9th, but.
yeah.
And it's not even like the good old days when you used to at least win tyre choice. You remember the days when the top 10 had to start on the tyres to qualify Q2?
Yeah. Don't do that anymore.
I still actually think that rule should be in. I think that was a great rule.
And then, obviously,
It made people choose.
You know, you had Kimi Antonelli, 10th, Yuki in 11th. And, I mean, okay, so just getting on to the start.
Now, this is where I actually joined in. What it was, I was actually busy on the afternoon, so we watched on catch up at about 5 o'clock. So we pretty much. I had at one point, at about 2 o'clock, I bumped the F1 channel on. The race started at 3. And it was teaming it down for, I think it was the F2 race.
Did they not cancel that?
I think they tried to start it, but it was absolutely teaming. And I was like, oh, this is going to be very interesting to good old Britain doing what it does best, a bit of shit weather. I could say that as a Brit.
And then it stopped, but then started again.
Yeah,
during the race.
The FIA's decision to start him behind the safety car.
That was a bit of a I was a little bit.
Now, what I will say is because we sat there and it's like, what? It doesn't look that wet, and then they got to the last sector.
Oh yeah.
Now, I mean, obviously you had Russell was certainly one, Leclerc was one, who actually peeled off at the end of the formation lap. Now, it gave me flashbacks. Can you remember Hungary a few years ago where Hamilton just won the grid on his own?
Hamilton was the only one on the grid because everybody pitted.
Yeah. I had visions of that happening, but obviously there was about 4 or 5.
Well, it got commented on, didn't it?
I'll tell you what I will say though, it must be hard work for, I think it was Gasly, who had 2 empty spaces in front of him, directly in front of him, because both the cars are in front of him. Must be so easy to not realise and roll right to the front space and end up out of your grid box. So yeah, so those cars took to the pits. I don't know who's going to show. Yeah, you know how bad it is when even the pit stop list doesn't show them because technically the race hadn't started yet.
Yeah.
So obviously Colapinto was 1, but he's actually classified as a did not start because, as we were talking about earlier, the car stalled in the pits, got stuck in gear, and they never even got it bloody going.
No.
A weekend to forget for Franco.
Yeah, which probably, like I say, could
potentially be his last.
Could be, yeah.
So turn 1, 2, go without a lot of incidents. And then turn 3, you had that nice long shot down the hangar straight, and all I saw was a racing bull at one hell of an angle in the background. Looking like he was trying to take off. When it transpired that Liam Lawson, well, technically Esteban Ocon had been caught in a Red Bull sandwich. When you think about it.
Yeah.
Because he'd had Yuki on the inside of him and that pushed him wide into Lawson. Fair play to Haas. They've obviously built that car for combat.
Well, yeah.
Because it survived.
If
you saw Lawson's back suspension, it mullered, and we had a weekend. I mean, that's what we should have meant. Was it practice 3 where Bortoletto went off and ripped the front corner off the car?
Yeah,
It was 3.
Span hit the
across the
bomb.
grass. So for Ocon's car to survive that impact,
Mm,
not the only impact he had this with that race, but we'll get onto that later.
yeah.
And so that was lost now because, like I say, the back wheel was no longer really attached. So he had, I think it was a VSC for that one, eh?
Yep.
VSC, decided that. You had Max and Piastri scrapping away at the front. Max didn't really have the pace. Piastri always had the pace advantage.
He wasn't going to give it up, though. You know that.
Oh no, he wasn't, and he drove well. He was driving a bloody good race, and then the heavens opened.
Yeah. Now, the decision of was it a safety car come out?
The safety car came out, wasn't it? Now I kind of, it's always a double-edged sword to me because these are supposed to be the best racers. I'm always a big fan of let them race. If it's that bad, then you don't always want it red flagged because you don't want the delay.
No, but it was bad enough that. Hang on, why?
You're going to say what I think you're going to say. That actually happened slightly later on.
Why did Bortoleto go out?
He span it, remember, and broke all the back wing.
Oh, he did. Yeah.
Tried to limp it back, and I'm guessing they told him to park the car because he parked it in the old pit exit.
He
actually got the car out the barrier.
Yeah, but a bit of the wing fell off, didn't it?
Flew off, and as you know, the FIA, quite correctly, in my opinion, have been sort of stamping down on driving cars, say they don't want cars going around the track shredding components.
No.
Especially in those conditions.
Oh, no, yeah.
So then we get a little bit more safety car. Then we get a restart, which is where my fantasy team, for the second week in a row, managed to screw itself. As Isaac Hadjar attempted to mount Kimi Antonelli. I feel sorry for the lad because it was a complete accident.
He couldn't. The thing was, he couldn't. I mean, when they showed you the replay, holy crap!
And you can see more from the camera than they can see. You're higher up,
yeah,
and the camera is better than human eyes are at cutting through all that.
But
so we could see more, and yeah, you couldn't see anything till next thing he was up the back of it.
That's what I mean.
I mean, you'll have driven on a motorway in Spray. I have. It can get rough at times.
Yeah, that's why you back down a bit.
But you're always not wanting to back down too far in case the guy behind you isn't backing down. You got to balance it.
Mm.
I've told you, I've been driving on a motorway in had conditions where somebody could have nicked the bonnet badge and I'd not noticed.
Yeah, you've got to. Yeah, but if you back down,
we ain't racing.
You back down about 10% at least.
But yeah, that put Hadjar out. Antonelli sold on for a few more laps where he'd lost so much rear diffuser.
Yeah.
That it just wasn't worth. I mean, Griff was of a premium, shall we say, at the best of times. I mean, I might as well mention this at this point, so through, but Charles Leclerc should get an award for the most miles covered. He was so far. I'm sure he was so far off the circuit through Maggots and Beckers he had to pay to get back in.
Grass cutting.
Grass cutting? He was busy. I think he got 2 of the Aston Martin factory.
Was he? Yeah. Had he changed his compound at one point? Had he gone to Slicks?
Yeah, he went to Slicks at the very beginning, didn't he? Back to Inters. Now, what I will say, this is something that actually Jensen Button picked up on. Why did Russell put hards on at the beginning? That seems such a stupid choice.
Yeah.
Why hards? You know what the dishes are like, at least softs. If you can get softs hot, they're actually generally, until it gets bad standing water, they are not bad.
Yeah.
Because the heat sort of carries them.
Well, wasn't it Kimi as well? They didn't pick
I think
him.
some mediums. took mediums on him, didn't they?
Yeah, but he went off coming straight out of the pit lane.
Yeah. Well, few were doing that. I mean, yeah, you're watching. There was a couple of times out of the what the last one of Maggots, Beckett's, Cosworth, Verstappen looked like he was practicing for rallycross.
Yeah.
I mean, those as we've alluded to once already, he was running that skinny rear wing.
Yeah.
And it was fighting him. He was holding it like fair play too. I mean, he went off eventually, but you know what? He held that car so well.
He did until the point of a restart.
Now, I'm going to be interested to hear your opinion on this. Now, in my opinion, the penalty was fair. Because from the pictures at the time, even before we got wind of information, I mean, for those, I mean, I'm assuming you actually watched the race, so I'm guessing you have an idea. If not, you'll have seen it. But basically, near enough, in my opinion, safety car lights go out, and Piastri pulled the handbrake on. In my opinion, the way he slowed down, and the funny thing is, after the race, when I was saying further back, it gave me worrying chills back to Bottas at Mugello.
Yeah.
You remember that one?
Yep.
You know, where Bottas did something similar and ended up being a massive... Because when he showed you the wide shot, further back, there was cars scattering. Because they'd all started accelerating, and then suddenly, boom. Well, not boom, literally, but... So, you know, and I think to sort of fill in the information, because there was precedent, was it Piastri at Canada had done something similar?
No, Russell.
Was it Russell? Well, basically what they said is he'd used, whichever one it was, Russell had used 30 psi of braking force.
Yeah.
In that is, the Piastri used 60 and lost over 100 miles an hour in that braking spot.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that's not just backing off to the safety car goal, that's stopping.
Yeah, but the problem was, and I am going to say this, that safety car was a late call.
It probably was.
What they should have technically done was run it another lap and called that safety car ending earlier.
Yeah, but don't forget they had no lapped vehicles to sort out or anything.
Yeah, I know. But a late call like that, no wonder Oscar slammed on. No wonder he hammed on.
Possibly. I'm not gonna disagree with you, but at the same time,
because if Oscar had have just carried on, not carried on, but if Oscar had gone a bit further, he'd have either been in the back of the safety car or the safety car wouldn't have clearly got in the pits.
I will be inclined to disagree. There's a middle ground between what he did and that.
Okay, yeah, maybe he was a bit heavy on his brakes, but...
There's a middle ground. I honestly think I think the penalty was right. I do.
I mean, McLaren are calling it harsh. A few others have actually called it quite harsh. Because the problem was...
The FIA are going to want to try and be hard. The FIA don't want people doing tricks like that. I mean, take the conditions into account as well.
Yes, yeah. But in saying that, that trick had been played with Russell. Yeah. Why Russell never got out for it?
Yeah, but this is what I said to you a second ago. Russell didn't brake half as hard. They had telemetry evidence to show that Russell didn't literally use half the brake pressure that Piastri did.
Yeah, but Max still fucking went past Russell and all. Max was ready because he was thinking that Oscar was just going to go. That's why Max went bye, sort of thing, past him. Because he thought Oscar was going to go, not...
Yeah, but say it's not just Max. I'll say you watch the footage further back.
I know, there was a lot more.
It's wrong-footed a lot of cars.
Yes, but even a certain Hulkenberg had said it had caused a bit of trouble.
Further back. So, saying in the conditions as well, you just... I mean, maybe the penalty was the harsh side. I'm not going to argue that. But what I'm saying is it was right to be a penalty.
I'm not going to argue or say it wasn't. I'd have rather have seen a 5-second penalty than a 10-second. 10 seconds was a little bit on the harsh side. 5 seconds probably would have been a little bit.
I did kind of like the. I mean, we finally heard Piastri be something less than his trademark cool for once.
Yes, we did.
But his comments on the radio about if you think it was unfair, let Lando let me past. I'm thinking, yeah, you go and ask Lando that one and see what his answer's going to be to that.
Get stuffed.
Yeah. No, I said you get the Vodafone voicemail service through his radio. Sorry, I can't come to the phone right now. Please leave a message.
Well,
now what it did cause was it caused Verstappen to spin because Verstappen, probably a little bit of frustration kicked in as well. Next thing comes out of that bend sideways.
Yep.
Jumps all the way down to 10th.
Yeah.
Now, fantastic recovery drive, got it back to 5th.
Oh, yeah.
This is this is what I always say, and this is where a lot of people don't like it, is Max is one hell of a driver. Because he dragged that piece of shit back to 5th. No, it's true.
Oh, yeah, from a spin.
Considering his teammate was the last of the finishers a lap down.
Yeah.
Now, he also had a 10-second penalty for a collision, which will come on to probably my second favourite moment of the weekend, which is a slow-motion shot of two Hasses spinning in synchronisation. But was it Yuki had a collision with Behrman, didn't he?
Yep.
And he copped a 10-second penalty for that.
Yeah, which is
fair.
Problem is we're seeing very inconsistent shit again from the FIA. We're seeing inconsistencies. Because ideally, like going back to the safety car incident with Russell, if they were going to be thingy on Russell, it should have been a 5-second penalty for that. It should have been should have been a 5-second or whatever for Oscar, but it's like we're just.
Possibly, I'm not gonna say you're right. Like I say,
No, I know. We're seeing
there's one or two different circumstances involved. And also, like I say, I think almost this was used as the FIA as a chance to sort of try and stop this happening now.
It's not.
It's the old hit them as hard as you can, and hopefully they'll think twice.
It's not gonna.
Think back to when Russell called them out about giving him a 5-second penalty to give him a drive-through instead.
Yeah.
It's one of those. You make an example.
But it's not, because the entire FIA is just a laughing stock right now.
That is also true, but going on to, like I say, about the two Hasses collide. Did you see that was going to be investigated after this? I'd love to have been in that meeting when Haas were trying to fight themselves.
Yeah.
It'd be like that scene from Clarkson's Farm where Charlie was on both sides of the debate, wouldn't it? Now come and stand over here and tell me you agree with that. Of course, it's bloody rubbish, isn't it?
Yeah.
Imagine what Gunther would have made of that, of the two cars coming together. It wouldn't have been repeatable on TV, let's put it that way.
It probably wouldn't have been. But then... Yeah.
But then other than that, say, everybody had a lot of adventures, let's be brutally honest here.
Well,
Leclerc in particular seemed to be all over the place.
I mean, at one point I was thinking, when I saw Stroll up where he was originally, I'm thinking...
Yeah, tell me about it.
I'm thinking, fuck, no.
To be honest with you, I was actually getting to the point where I'm thinking, you know what? Yeah, don't get me wrong, I'd rather it have been Fernando than Stroll, but for the team...
Yeah.
That will feel amazing.
But
So you know what I mean? I get where you're coming from, and I kind of agree with you. But I was, as much as then you're probably not a big surprise when anyone knows me. I wasn't cheering Hamilton on to catch those guys.
No.
You know, you had Stroll in third and Hulkenberg in fourth.
And I was like, oh, come on, Hulkenberg, come on. Get him.
I mean, you know, is there anything else from Junior? Should we move on to what, in my opinion, is the best feel-good moment of the season? I don't think a lot's going to top it.
No.
I mean, it's like, you know, don't get me wrong, and there's also a lot to be said for. We're sort of jumping to the end here now, I think. Lando is first to win in front of his home crowd.
I mean, think, to be honest,
there's got to be something about winning in front of your home crowd. It's got to feel.
And as usual, Lando decides to mess up live on air, but yeah.
And you know what? You let him off at moments like that. But to me, that was kind of overshadowed by.
It's the checkered flag, Nico. You did it. You did it, dude. Podium P3, baby.
Sadly, I can't use much longer of a clip because Discord only allows 5 seconds. But Nico Hulkenberg, 37 years old, 239th Grand Prix, first ever podium.
Yep.
He's run in podium positions before, but he's never managed to turn one into a podium.
Mm-hmm.
And once again, the same as I just said for Aston Martin, what that means for the Sauber team.
Oh, yeah.
A team that has been struggling. And what that does for Nico, in my opinion, with Audi taking over next year, he's making a very strong case of why he should stay in that car.
Yeah.
Because if he can lug that tractor round into third, which is what I said earlier, that weekends like this produce those kind of results.
Yeah, it was very.
I mean, you had a few, you know, Gasly in 6th, Stroll still 7th, Albon, Alonso 9th. You know, Russell only got 10th. So basically, a lot of teams that normally don't get anywhere have come away with good points.
I mean, put it this way.
Sauber up to 6th in the Constructors.
Hulkenberg's currently in 9th.
Yeah.
In the driver's standings.
Yeah. Which, you know, when you've got a season, when the bottom of the bottom half of especially the team championship is often so tight, a result like this could give you an extra $30 million next year.
Yeah, I mean,
that's the kind of difference. Especially, don't forget, we've got the 11th team coming in next year. You've somebody else to fight.
Oh, yeah.
So
I mean, you've got to okay. Alpine aren't, you know, they're not gonna finish the season pointless.
But they're in a very lowly place right now.
10 points. 10 points behind Haas.
But that's the thing. That's what I'm trying. That's the point I'm trying to make is for like Sauber this weekend. That bottom half is very tight. Very tight. It's not like the top half. Let's be honest. McLaren, it's not insurmountable, but it's not likely to be caught.
No.
I think there's 300 points left available, and they are 288 ahead. They would have to have some serious bad run for that to be caught.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Mathematically, it's possible. But you're more likely to see Nigel Mansell get another win before that happens.
Well, I mean, the way that the McLarens are at the moment, it'll be it's their constructors to lose.
Oh, well, I don't even think it's theirs to lose. I think they struggle to lose it at this point. Famous last words, don't get me wrong. But I think it's...
Like in terms...
Unless they pulled the cars out now and didn't race the second half of the season.
Yeah, well, I mean, in terms of the driving championship...
Oh, it's nice and it's close, this one, isn't it? I honestly don't know which way to call it. I really don't.
It's between Oscar and Lando.
Oh, yeah, it is. I I was familiarise myself with the numbers.
230,
Once again,
234 for Oscar, 226 for Lando.
Lando 165 for Max, 147 for George.
Hmm.
I mean, it's that one's a little bit closer because obviously the gap to Max is only 69 points. Is that? If Max wins 2 and Oscar DNFs 2, that's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know I'm talking if buts and maybes here, but that's how this season is tight. This season is very tight.
Oscar's biggest rival
He's Lando.
is Lando at this point.
Now, up until the last 2 races, I always had the opinion that Lando buckled under pressure too easily. Now, he seems to be, I won't say settling down, but he seems to be actually managing it a little better.
We'll say come Spa.
Yeah, like I say, I honestly think getting this win at Silverstone might just settle him a lot. Because I think there's a big monkey off his back there.
Yeah, maybe, but I think...
He's won his home Grand Prix. He nearly won it last year, apart from a bad tyre choice.
Yeah, but I
think to win his home race, I think that'll just...
I honestly don't think Oscar's going to back down.
Oscar isn't going to back down. No, Lando's going to have to take the fight to him.
And I think after this weekend with Oscar, I think he'll move on.
Well, he's going to come back at Spa with a point to prove.
Too fucking right he is. That's the thing, he will, and I think Max will as well.
Oh, definitely.
Because technically,
the thing is, Max has always done that though. Max is good at not letting it.
And technically, it was a home race for Red Bull, and quite a lot of the other teams. Technically, it's a home race for Max. It's Belgium.
He's half Dutch, half.
He's Belgian born.
Yeah.
He's born Belgium, but he races under Dutch.
And
he's primarily classed as Dutch, but he was born in Belgium, so that's why it's his home race.
Well, his dad's Dutch, isn't he? So that's where that comes from.
Yeah. Yes. But his mother's a Belgian.
Yeah. So, yeah, so that gets us, like I say, first place for Lando, Oscar second, Hulkenberg third. Hulkenberg driver of the day. Once again, not going to argue. Fastest lap, I believe, went to Oscar.
Which...
Sadly, you don't get a point for that anymore, which I still think was silly, but...
Which is interesting, because if they'd still kept that rule in, Oscar probably would have been farther ahead than he is.
Told you, if that was me, that rule would have been kept in and they've opened it up to all 20 cars.
Oh, yeah.
Whoever got fastest lap gets a point. It'd be that simple.
It was like I say, it was very gutting that Oscar never won his home race.
Yet.
No, I know, but he had a point to prove come back China.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he hasn't won it yet. There's
like
a long
way. Generally, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, Oscar's won 5. Lando's only won 4.
Oh yeah.
Max has won twice and George has won 1. Out of this season so far. So yeah, I can see why the season is the way the season is at this point. But it's going to go down to the wire between them two because we've got sprints. We have sprints coming up at some point as well.
Yeah, well, in the second half, we've only got 4 or 6 sprints left, haven't we?
Yeah. And all I'm going to say, there's going to be fireworks, I reckon, for the rest of the season. There's going to be fireworks.
I think unless McLaren step in and start putting some team orders in play.
They don't want to do it.
And I don't know if anyone do it. We don't want them to do it.
No.
I certainly don't want them to do it.
No,
But
because look.
I would think if they get another collision or something silly, they're going to seriously start looking at it.
Oh, yeah. But what I'm saying is look at Austria. The racing between them two.
Oh yeah, no, 100%.
It was enjoyable.
Absolutely agree. We were having a this is one of the best seasons I can remember. This is up here with 2009 for me.
It's... I can't say that, really, to be honest.
Why?
Because... yes, it's been a good season, but not all the races have been great.
Yeah, but without the rose-tinted specs, I bet every season you can think of, there have been races that weren't fantastic that we just can't remember.
There's been a few. Spa.
No, but you know what I mean? Like I say, to me, the yard mark of F1 to me was 09, was that Braun year.
Yeah.
And the fight between Barrichello and Button. And all the crap that Braun went through to get that through. There'll have been races that year that were shite.
Hmm.
But we just don't remember them.
No.
In years to come, you'll remember this season. We'll remember Lando running into the back of Oscar. It'll be in the trailer reel every year at Canada.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that the rest of the season was perfect. It's just these are standout.
I mean, like I
And
say...
at the end of the day, we are 99.9% likely to get a brand new get a first-time world champion this year. Which is something we haven't had for a little while.
Unless Max can pull something incredible out.
99.9% likely that's why I said that, because it's gonna be one of them four. I mean, I still think Russell has an outside chance if Merck can mount a serious.
But can they though? Because George likes to crack.
That's what I'm saying. I said if. I'm not saying, don't put money on it based on what I'm saying, but this is where I see it.
You know, I'd love to have a bet on either Oscar or Lando.
Tell you what, I'd love to have had a tenner on Hulkenberg's podium this weekend. What odds would you have got on that?
Oh yeah, I know. So
have you got any other thoughts? I think I've kind of led this one a bit this week. So
yeah, no, not really. I just dreading seeing.
I don't think you've. I will say, for somebody who's not the biggest fan of the British Grand Prix, it was one of the better races at Silverstone.
It was.
You know what I mean? I'm
Once
not
it
a mad
got
fan of the circuit.
going. Once it got going, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Now here's the part you've all been waiting for.
Here's the part I'm wondering about, to be honest. So, right. I'm going from the bottom. I'm not actually looking at anybody's points or anything like that yet. So, okay, so Angelo's at the bottom.
This is just for this weekend, is it? Yeah. 92,
this is
yeah.
just for this weekend, 92.
Yeah.
So, Racing Bull's kind of screwed.
A negative for Sainz. And she's got Lando with the 2 times, but nobody else is a big scorer. That's the kind of the problem there.
Yeah.
There's not really Next is Allen. Not a good weekend for him.
No, it wasn't. Because of Carla Pinto and the Racing Bulls.
And Hadjar.
Yeah. So,
So 118 points.
And then we've got
Then
Adam on 125.
Now Adam had the same problem as me, which, like I said, the second weekend in a row that my own fantasy team committed suicide.
Yeah, Antonelli.
Where one of them ran into one of the freaking others.
Antonelli and Hadjar, yeah.
I'm guessing Behrman probably didn't do him any favour, because Behrman will have had, like, the penalty and everything, I think, counts against you.
Yeah.
Actually, it doesn't. You don't actually get negative for that.
All right, okay.
That surprises me.
Yeah. Simon. Down in
Fifth, yeah,
fifth.
not his best weekend. Bortoleto, Colapinto, and Hadjar.
Ooh.
Then me.
Yeah.
Hulkenberg suddenly became worth his salt, didn't he?
Just a little bit. So Simon had 127, David's got 142.
Just behind you. On
I'm
148.
third. Yeah, Hadjar did me and Racing Balls.
Yeah. Logan in second. Once again, Hadjar and Sainz were his negatives. 169.
But
And, you know, worrying coincidence till 2024. Ryan.
at the top.
That's a strong, considering he's got so much money left to spend, that's a strong lineup.
Yeah, but the thing is, he's had good. That's the thing. He's had quite a good weekend there.
But it's probably one of those. It's the one-off weekend when he was.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you go back to a lot of other, I mean, Austria, that's the same lineup. Got him sixth.
Yeah.
Texas only scored him 20 less points.
But
we all had a pretty low score. The scores in general, I mean, he won with 188. The winner last time out had 233, which was you.
Yeah.
238 the week before. 228. So it was a low scoring weekend across the board. I think because so many drivers came a cropper, so many of us had drivers that came a cropper.
Yeah.
If you get what I'm saying.
Yeah. I mean,
so that was 188. He's the winner. So if you take that to the overall standings.
So Angela's down in 8th with 1,208. Ryan is in 7th with 1,582.
I'm in 6th with 1,638.
Yeah, he's in 6th with 1,638. Adam is in 5th with 1,667. Logan's in 4th with 1,964. Alan is in 3rd with 2,124. I'm in 2nd with 2,257. And Simon's still in 1st with 2,386.
I feel like you're closing that gap slowly.
I'm closing that gap. I need Simon to have more bad weekends.
I mean, I'm 750 points off the lead.
Can you do? Can it be done? Is the question?
Yes.
Whether Antonelli
but as I say every time we have this conversation, there is so much crossover between our team that it's difficult. Because I mean, me and Simon, sorry. Actually, no, we both have Hadjar. That's not our only crossover, actually.
That's what I mean. You guys don't.
In theory, yes. If I have a really strong weekend and he has a shocker, then in theory there's a lot of ground to be made.
That's what I mean.
For example, you compare me to where is it, one of the others?
Well, if you compare
me to Adam, we share about 4 different things.
Yeah.
So it's harder for me to make big ground on him.
Because
what does well for me will also do well for him, and vice versa. Say, whereas the guys who, like say, as far as I can tell, me and Simon actually only agree on Hadjar.
Yeah, you do. You only have Hadjar.
Oh no, we both have Williams as well.
Yeah. But, you know, in the likes of you and Alan, for example, Alan has Hadjar.
That's the only cross me and him have, isn't it?
Yeah. Whereas
you would think me having like both Mercedes would be a strong component, but this year it's just not playing out that way.
Yeah. Whereas like me and you, Hadjar is a crossover. An Oscar.
Oscar is.
That's it.
Yeah. So we'll see. There's a lot of ground yet. We're only halfway there.
Yeah.
I know it feels like it's been longer, but we're still only halfway.
Anything else to add?
I don't think so. Do you want to address your FIA rant for this week, or you know more of the details than I do about the suspension of the British advisor and the whatever's going on
basically, there? It came out that obviously the long-standing oh god. Okay. Well, that doesn't want to work properly. Fine, we'll go this way then. That doesn't want to work. So basically, long and short of it is the British FIA Senate has been removed in favour of bringing in an UAE person, basically.
Now that we know that Saeed is basically unopposed for his re-election, because Carlos Sainz Sr. has stepped out of the running.
Yeah, problem is, he's doing... I know this is gonna probably sound a bit wrong, but he's doing everything to make sure that the group within the FIA to not oppose him are of the same as him, basically. They're from the same, like... Okay, basically, long story short, he wants Saudis and stuff like that. Who'll agree to his thing. He doesn't, as you can see, and the thing that's more shocking is the FIA Senate, the British Senate that they removed, weren't against him. So that's what strikes it even odd. They weren't opposed to his re-election. So it makes it very odd in what he's trying to do with the FIA. I'm sorry, Susie Wolf should just get in there, kick him in the nuts and fucking oppose him. I don't understand, I don't understand why Sainz Senior dropped down. And did you notice one thing? Can't remember if it was at this race. Yeah, it was at this race. You noticed that when you saw the certain president, when he was
there right at the end, yeah, to congratulate Lando. That's the thing I saw him.
Yeah, did you see the finger nod again? Did you see the finger wag at him?
No, I didn't actually.
I did. And I know what that was over. Without hearing what it was, that was to do with swearing. Because it was the look on his, sort of look you could see on his face, but the finger wag. And it's like, yeah. Get fucking real. Because it's just like, you're not gonna, the whole swearing thing and everything like that, it's just fucking childish. You notice you've never heard any more about it. Yeah. And yet they've been swearing in the cars and you've heard no more about fines. Because I think he's seen the reaction from the drivers. In terms of when they start snubbing him
Yeah.
What he's trying to do now is he's trying to win them back on side for his re-election. But that's not going to happen. The damage has been done. Don't think Jack Whitehall will be invited on the grid anymore, though.
I never actually saw the grid walk, so I don't know.
No, it wasn't so much on the grid walk. He ended up accidentally body checking Hamilton. Let that go down well. He made a joke of it, like when he spoke to, I think it was it Simon or somebody? Yeah, he'd accidentally body checked him.
Yeah.
Don't think that'll go down too well.
And I would say we should probably have a final quote of like ending on the lighter news.
Oh yeah,
We
F-170.
should pass.
You know the F-175 launch thing?
Yeah.
Anybody's expecting something like that next year? Not happening.
No.
It's been canned. But yeah, go on.
I was going to say the lighter news. I thought it's something which I'm amazed you actually didn't mention. The Lego trophies. I mean, at least it's one that Lando could break and put back together.
Yeah, I mean... It's...
I thought you'd like those.
They look nice.
Just wait till the kit comes out for 600 quid and you're buying one.
It wasn't that. It was somebody had said something. Somebody said something to Nico, and he said, "Yeah, something like that. His daughter would love to. His daughter will have fun with it." It's just like, oh my god. I get why the Lego thing, because it's the partnership. Between Lego and F1, but they need to bring the Lego cars back for the Lego cars back that they had at Miami.
So I'd like to see a full race done with those. I know it can only be a couple of laps, but I think it'd be interesting to watch.
Yeah. So yeah, gonna end this one here.
You're not going to read out the times for
Yeah.
Belgium.
Got to do the timing, haven't I, for Belgium? I forget that.
He's only been doing this for 5 years, folks. You can't expect him to have friggin' figured it out just yet.
I forgot about the timings. Well, I know we usually do the timings, but anyways, yeah. So timings for Belgium. So the Belgium Grand Prix is the 25th to the 27th of July. So we have a little bit of a break. Thank Christ.
I must admit, yeah, it's nice to have a weekend where we have time to sort of catch up with ourselves, isn't it?
Yeah, just a bit. So, practice 1 on the 25th of July. 11:30 till 12:30. Also on the 25th of July, sprint qualifying. At 3:30 till
16:14, which is a weird number.
Yeah, just a little bit. Let's just say 4:15, obviously UK time. Then we have the sprint on the 26th at 11 a.m. That might be a watch back.
That will be a watch back for me. I'll still be at work.
That'll be a watch back. Then we have qualifying at 3 o'clock till 4. And then on the 27th, we have the race at 2.
Yep.
So it's a sprint. So that's going to be a bit of a shake-up.
Oh, yeah.
We'll see. Will Oscar come out on top? We'll find out. So,
be sure to join us for that, folks.
Obviously, as you know, everything as usual. 3 o'clock release on a Wednesday when there is a race. Obviously, you can join the Fantasy League. Still, even though we are halfway through the season, your points get added. If you've got a team, Obviously, don't forget to check out the gaming channel, and the link for that is up there. Obviously, thank you to David for joining,
Been a pleasure.
and we shall see you for the next one. So until then,
Adios, folks.
goodbye for now.